saw the thumbnail. Conspiracy theory? Wishful thinking? Fan optimism? Let's see. Alrighty guys, well welcome back to MandieNRG with none other than me, Mandie! Yay! Go team! So first of all, before I get this video going, of course, I'm Mandie and this is my channel MandieNRG. If you're new here, I welcome you. If you've been here before, you know there's going to be a long intro. I hit 1,000 subscribers overnight, so I just wanted to say thank you to all of you that have subscribed to my channel. You know, all I can really say is let's keep Eurobeat alive and let's keep it growing. So as the title would suggest, we are doing a conspiracy theory video on none other than Ace. I'm not Shane Dawson, but you know, yeah. He's actually singing my favorite song by him behind me right now. We all know Dave Rodgers as the godfather of Eurobeat. But what if in the 90s there had been another singer, not the same, but another singer of a comparable presence or a comparable caliber? Could there have been another Dave Rodgers? Conspiracy theory today. By the end of this video, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Help boost my ratings with the analytics. Write a comment down below when I'm done. Let me know your thoughts on my theory. Or just tell me I'm crazy, one or the other. Ace is awesome either way, and you don't know what you're talking about. You've clicked on this video. You know what you're in for. So today we are going to be talking about a Eurobeat conspiracy theory. But Mandie, what is that? I don't know. It's something I coined myself. Aren't you proud of me? I was preparing a video outline and I was kind of thinking about some different ideas for videos regarding SCP. And one of my favorite singers, and I think probably one of our favorite singers from SCP, is Ace, otherwise known as Christian Codenotti, which is his real name, if you didn't figure that out, because it's Italian. I'm so glad I explained the obvious. So before I get into the conspiracy theory, let's start with the basics of Ace here. Ace started with SCP back in the end of 2000 by recording Play the Music. He went in as a session singer, and because of his performance and because of his interest, wound up working alongside Evelina and Stefano for years doing Eurobeat. He has participated in singing, obviously, group acts, obviously, other duets, and go-to. He's been involved in writing lyrics and producing music. He's been heavily involved with session singers or Eurobeat singers that come into SCP, and he tends to work with them. He's had a very strong presence with the Eurobeat fan base, pretty much from my understanding since day one. Now that you have the basic background on Ace, let's get to why you're here, why the clickbait title brought you in. It's not really clickbait so much as it's a genuine theory of mine, and you cannot disprove it because he did not start singing in the 90s. So it will remain a conspiracy theory, period, because there's no way to travel back in time and to be running in the 90s. Aren't you happy I fit that in? Ace has maintained good business relationships and friendships with tons of Eurobeat related singers and personalities that he has encountered over the years. From my firsthand experience, he just seems like a chill guy. But none of this equates to why I would theorize that Ace could have been another Dave Rodgers act or another Dave Rodgers Eurobeat artist. Let me get to this, guys, because this is going to take some time to outline, so bear with me. First things first. I'm not saying he could have replaced Dave Rodgers. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying he could have been a competitive force in the Eurobeat marketplace had he been actively present like ABC was. And had Ace been involved with SCP, there is potential. No shade for Dave Rodgers. First point, we're going to talk about Ace, and we're going to talk about his vocal stylings. Shocker, he's a singer. We're talking about his voice. So the first thing about Ace that needs to be noted is his voice is pretty specific to him. It isn't something that you can confuse with other artists. And I'm sorry, there are a series of singers, not just in Eurobeat, this is in general, that you could easily confuse with other singers if you were not super familiar with their voices. Ace has a very specific sound to his voice. While his voice does hit higher notes than Dave Rodgers' does, Dave Rodgers is definitely more raspy or more deep sounding. I don't know how better to describe this to you. Ace's voice definitely hits higher tones or higher pitches, whereas Dave's stays kind of down in the deeper end of the pool. I'm sure that was an attractive face I just made at the camera. The way Ace and Dave Rodgers sing songs, they're different, but the way they sing is, in my opinion, to my little ears, very comparable. The amount of energy or passion they put into tones seems very comparable to me. And yes, we're gonna go into the obvious here once more as well. A vocalist's voice changes over time. There is no way really to avoid that. As we get older, our voice changes. Dave Rodgers still maintains the same sort of raspy sound he had in the 80s when he was singing as Aleph. It's definitely a younger voice in the 80s, but it's the same voice. Ace has the same thing going on. Now, as far as energy or passion for the music, there's a series of points here. Again, just bear with me. ABC was the brand in the 90s that had a really good hold on the Japanese para market. They did a couple of concerts in Japan. They had 2 Golden Disc Award situations and performances. ABC was the face of Eurobeat in Japan in the 90s. I think that's kind of indisputable. Yes, Time Records was there. Yes, Delta was there. No shade. But ABC was the face. Dave Rodgers and Domino were overall the face of Eurobeat in Japan. I remain kind of curious as to why Avex did not bring in other Eurobeat artists until the end of the 90s to perform. Like I said, performance. Ace and Fastway performed as go-to at the 2005 Automass in Osaka. They performed their song, Not For Sale, which at the time had been newly released in Japan. And as I've had to restart behind me, you'll see video footage playing behind me the whole time of Ace and Pamsy performing at the Super Eurobeat 230 release in Japan. Now, back when performing for the Super Eurobeat 150 release in Osaka with Fastway, they only had one song at the time, which was Not For Sale, which was performed. And Ace has since told me that following the performance of Not For Sale, they were approached by Avex and asked as go-to to record more duet songs. There weren't really many, or any that I can think of at the time, male duos singing Eurobeat. And go-to was kind of this interesting, energetic enigma. When go-to was performing in Japan, Ace and Fastway were approached by executives at Avex Trax and said that based on whatever their new songs are, they may want to have go-to do a tour in Japan or do more performances down the road. Unfortunately, that never came to happen, that never came to fruition, but wouldn't that have been a cool idea? Just a little fun nugget for all you out there. Like that would have been really cool. So at the time they performed, they only had the one song, Not For Sale, and since they've done a lot of songs together as go-to. As far as Eurobeat acts go, post-2000, go-to is probably the most successful that was newly established. Now, as I reference Ace as a personality in Eurobeat, something clearly that needs to be stated is the Not For Sale music video that appeared on Super Eurobeat Volume 150 was of help in the growth of SCP, of Ace, and a Fastway of go-to. As far as professional presence goes, I was messaging Ace and I asked him about the Play the Music little kind of promotional video that was posted on the SCP website back in the 2000s, how that came about. For Eurobeat fans at the time, as I've mentioned in other videos, SCP posting stuff was kind of a game changer. It wasn't so common. It was very limited information except from SCP at that time. Even Delta was still dealing in aliases and models. It created this very interesting aura where you had the real singers and their pictures really there, and each singer had their own page with a couple of photos at least, and some of them had a video. And in Ace's case, he had Play the Music. I'll link it down below so you guys can see. And Ace actually told me that after he recorded Play the Music, he went home and he recorded that in his bedroom just because he was excited to. To me, that really, just as a fan of the music, as somebody that has loved Play the Music from the first point they heard it, that's been one of my favorite Eurobeat songs for years. That actually made me really happy that he had recorded it and then felt passionate enough about it that he made some video himself and put it together. That actually takes initiative. comparing the go-to thing with the music video and the performances and the Ace performance here, and comparing this, there's a certain amount of drive or interest that has to be put into the music, especially when you can have that physical presence. Dave Rodgers from the get-go was provided a physical presence by Avex. Same with Domino. And again, no shade, both fantastic, but they were provided this situation of their image being there by Avex because the music was super big in the late 90s. It was really a thing. And as SCP and Ace kind of came on the scene, that waned a little bit. It didn't go off the map, but it did wane. Tying in with the performance portion, as I'm saying, had Ace been able to be involved in Eurobeat in the late 90s, I feel like he could have been another male vocalist that could have had a comparable presence to Dave Rodgers in concerts, in shows, in specials that Japan had done. Next point, Ace is a perfectionist. I'm laughing because I understand. Obviously, most musicians are picky about their music. I think that's fair to say. I'm not a musician. I'm a musician critique reviewer person fan thing. I called myself a thing. That's very flattering. When I was messaging Ace, when him and I had a little bit of back and forth here, I asked him, like, what song that you've done is your favorite? This is a question I actually posed to him something like 10 years ago. And at the time, he told me it was Moonchild. Now, when I was messaging him recently and I asked him the same question, amongst other questions, he responded saying Moonchild again. Again, it didn't surprise me because he definitely has his own artistic taste to what he wants, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. I'm making points. Moonchild definitely has its own sound in Eurobeat. I don't know how better to explain it. Moonchild is much more emotional sounding. It is much more, I suppose you could say, heartfelt than a lot of Eurobeat. There's more drama, there's more melody to it. I don't know how to explain music. My favorite track by Ace is Play the Music. And he told me he likes Play the Music too, but Moonchild is like the one that... Now this goes to show variety in the artwork, because when he started with SCP, I think it is safe to say, and I think most of us would agree, that his first 2 to 3 years at SCP, he had the same sort of sound with all of his songs. Not the same, similar. Please, listen. It's fair to say Eurobeat artists get lumped into certain musical stylings or into certain molds that make sense for the genre at the time to increase popularity. It's what the Japanese market was demanding. It's what the producers felt would get on albums. It's fine. It makes sense. It's a business. I don't know why I said that like Italian. As Ace went on with SCP, he was able to further push his creativity, his involvement, and songs like Moonchild get made that have a bit of a different artistic leaning. In recent years, I'd say approximately 2013 to 2017, Ace's Eurobeat tracks have had different, I'd say, how do I describe this? I actually really like Ace's newer songs from 2013, 2014-ish to 2017. I was very pleasantly moved by several of these tracks because I like a lot of energy. Shocker. I like a lot of speed. I like really strong, aggressive male vocals, for one. I think Ace's later music fit that niche or fit that specific liking of mine better than some of the songs when he initially was working with SCP, or even the songs in the late 2000s. I've always liked Ace, I'm just saying. So you're asking how this fits into a conspiracy theory. This fits in because of his growth in the genre and his growth of involvement in sound with the music. Listen to Dave Rodgers' music from 1990 when he's under Aleph or Big Brother, and move into, let's say, the most recent track, Dave Rodgers and Eurobeat Nation. Same man, same vocals, vocal styling's very similar, but the production and the performance of the vocals have definitely changed and they've evolved into something else. You're wondering how, with this basic blah, I can compare Ace to Dave Rodgers, because as we all know, he is called the godfather of Eurobeat. And he is one of the main brains behind the growth of the brand. Publicizing the public image, the presentation, the representation of Eurobeat. If you had Dave Rodgers and Ace at approximately the same age, and approximately the same market. I feel that you would have seen them equally presented at shows, on CDs. Now Dave had an additional, let's say, 12 years on Super Eurobeat, That's Eurobeat, Maharaja Night High Energy Revolution, before SCP, or Double, that became SCP, had Ace. Next, I believe there is a genuine passion for the music. It's safe to say, based off of Dave Rodgers' amazing career with Eurobeat, he has a very strong, heartfelt passion for it. Now, I've, again, had several messages with Ace, and I know that if he was given the opportunity, if Eurobeat was something that he could get back to being involved in, he would. If it was something Japan would push with Avex tracks again, or if it was something that could be lucrative in an international market for Evelina and Stefano with SCP to step back into, I think this is something Ace would happily, without a doubt, throw himself into. I think he would love to do performances. Though he has said he's never happy with his performance of anything, he actually told me to pick what his favorite performance vocally or like presentation-wise should be, because he doesn't know how to pick his own because he's so hypercritical, which I can totally identify with because you've seen the editing on my videos. So I think Ace definitely has a passion for the music that unfortunately he missed the boat on in the late 90s. Had he been on with Domino, Dave Rodgers, Nico, I do feel he could have gotten much, much bigger. That goes to the next point I want to discuss. Professionalism and friendship. What does that mean? That there is literally no tea on Ace. Everyone who's met Ace, including people I know, through my correspondence with him, through everyone's correspondence, Ace is just a chill guy. They've enjoyed working with him, they've enjoyed his humor, his insight, his presence. Not only does he have a passion for the music, he has an uncanny ability to make people enjoy participating in it. He also demands excellent performance and good work from himself and from the vocalists he works with. The high demands of performance sound very similar to what I've heard people say about Dave Rodgers. He expected certain standards to be met, and I don't think that is unfair. Oh, and let's really state the obvious here. Ace is a man. Ace sings Eurobeat. I feel like I went down a rabbit hole. So my conspiracy theory here. If Ace had been involved in Eurobeat in the mid to late 90s, could he have been as big as Dave Rodgers? I do strongly believe that Ace could have been equally as big as Dave Rodgers. Repeating myself once more, due to age, education, and involvement and whatnot, obviously Ace did not come into Eurobeat until 2000-2001 with SCP. Seriously, who does not like Play the Music? Because if you don't, you just need to play more music. You need to play some of the Eurobeat music is what you need, because Play the Music is, it's top notch. Now, I want you to throw down below what your thoughts are on this, because I am strongly of the opinion that Ace could have been as big as Dave Rodgers had he been on the scene in the mid to late 90s. When Ace got involved in Eurobeat, he was approximately 25. So this has been my Eurobeat conspiracy video. I hope you enjoyed it. I stand behind it 100%, by the way. This was originally going to be an Ace Top Tracks video, so just to name a couple of the Ace songs, not go-to, not duets with female singers, just Ace. Of course, I've already said Play the Music is one of my absolute favorite Eurobeat tracks of all time. I really love Burn the Night with You from Super Eurobeat 246, and I really love New Dirty Road from Super Eurobeat Volume 243. As I've already referenced, his favorite song is Moonchild, seconded by Play the Music. I think it is safe to say, and I think most of you would agree with me, that Ace is one of the most prevalent and important of the new generation Eurobeat singers, being post-2000 Eurobeat singers that have been involved in the genre. And he seems to be a nice guy. If Ace isn't your main jam, that's fine, guys, but I will tell you that if you've not given him much of a chance, go listen to a bunch of his music. He has some really great tracks. Comment down below, tell me what your favorite songs are by Ace, tell me what songs or what stylings of his you specifically enjoyed. You can look forward to new Eurobeat content every Friday at 12 noon Pacific Standard. Alrighty guys, this video is over. As always, listen to Eurobeat, check out the links down below, and keep it classy. Thanks for watching, guys.